Hi guys, so welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you how to make sopes de tinga. In case you guys want to know how to make this super easy and delicious recipe, just stay tuned and I'll show you how. Alrighty guys, so let's get started with our ingredients. So for the recipe we're going to need 2.5 pounds of skirt steak, chipotles and adobo sauce, 4 cups of instant corn masa, a half a cup of all-purpose flour, 4 roma tomatoes, 1 onion, garlic, 3 ounces of tomato paste, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and all of our spices that I will link in the description box. So these are ingredients. Now let's get started. Okay, so first we're going to start by making our tomato-based broth. So in 2 cups of water, we're going to mix our tomato paste along with 1 tablespoon of adobo sauce and all of our spices. So we're just going to mix. Okay, so once we have that ready, now we are ready to begin to cook our meat. Okay, so I'm going to be using my pressure cooker. So we're just going to throw in our meat. And I cut my steak into large chunks. To that we're going to add 1 head of garlic, half of our onion, 3 bay leaves, our tomato broth. And to that I'm going to also add 1 more cup of water, just to make sure that the meat is nice and covered with the water. Okay, we're going to cover it. Make sure that it's unsealing, and we're going to cook on the meat setting for 1 hour. Okay, once our meat has been cooking for 1 hour, now we're going to allow it to sit for 20 minutes, and meanwhile we can get our masa ready for our sopes. Okay, to make our sope dough, we're going to mix our maseca, our all-purpose flour, baking powder, and salt. Salt, I'm using 1.5 teaspoons. So just with your clean hands, mix it all together, and we're slowly going to add hot water. Just continue mixing until the water in the dough is nice and incorporated. Okay, so for me that was 3 3/4 cups. So now we're just going to knead for 5 minutes. Okay, so after 5 minutes our dough is ready, and you're going to know that it's ready once it no longer sticks to your hands. And just make sure that you roll a ball of dough, you press it down, and it doesn't crack at the ends. Okay, so we're going to grab a little bit of oil in the palm of our hands. Okay, so now we're just going to pat our dough. We're going to cover it and allow it to rest. Meanwhile, we can get back to our meat. Okay, so after 20 to 25 minutes, we're going to release any leftover steam from our pressure cooker. Okay, so we're going to open our pressure cooker. And let me tell you that it smells delicious. And now we're just going to get our meat out of the pot. And look how tender that is. Okay, so once we have our meat, we're just going to set it to the side. Okay, so we're going to reserve 1 cup of our broth that we're going to be using for our chipotle sauce. For our sauce, we're going to roast our 4 roma tomatoes. Okay, so once our tomatoes are fully roasted, we're going to transfer them into our blender cup. And now we're ready to make our chipotle sauce. To our blender cup, we're also going to add a small piece of onion, 2 garlic cloves, your chipotle and adobo sauce, and our broth. And now we're just going to blend until we have a smooth sauce. Okay, so once we have our sauce, now we can make our tinga. Okay, before we make our tinga, just make sure that you shred your meat. Okay, so once we have our meat all nice and shredded, now we can begin frying. Okay, we're going to grab a frying pan. We're going to set it on medium-high heat, and we're going to add a little bit of oil. Okay, so once oil gets hot, we're going to throw in sliced onions. And we're going to saute them for 3 minutes. Okay, so after 3 minutes, we're going to throw in our meat. We're going to lightly fry it for a couple minutes. Okay, so after a couple minutes, we're going to add our chipotle sauce. Okay, so just mix it all together. Okay, now we're just going to bring it to a simmer. Okay, so once it comes to a simmer, try it for salt. And for me, it's perfect. So now we're just going to reduce the heat to low setting. And we're going to allow it to simmer for 15 minutes. Meanwhile, we can form our sopes. Okay, so to make my sopes, I'm going to be using my tortillero. And if you don't have one, you can always use anything that's flat. Okay, so now we're going to grab a baseball-sized ball of dough. Going to place it on our tortillero. And I'm just using a Ziploc bag. And we're not going to press it down all the way. So just very lightly. So you want it to be not as thin as a tortilla, but just like that. Okay, and now we're going to begin to cook it on our griddle. Okay, so here I have the griddle set on medium heat, and now we're just going to place our dough, and we're going to cook it for 2 minutes on each side. Okay, so after 2 minutes, we're going to flip it over, and we're going to cook that side for another 2 minutes. Okay, so after 2 minutes, we're going to form our sope, and you can use paper towels because it is hot. So just press the edges inward, just kind of like that. And you want to do it as soon as you remove it from the pan, because like that it's nice and hot and it's just more manageable. Okay, so once you have it shaped like this, now we're going to go inside and press it down. So like that, when we add our filling, it doesn't come out. And you're just kind of shaping it. And just like that, we have our sope. And now we're just going to repeat the same process to all of our dough. Alrighty guys, so once we have our sopes all nice and formed, now we are ready for the fun part. Okay, so I like to lightly fry my sopes. And of course, if you don't want to fry them, you can just serve them like that. I'm just going to add a little bit of oil to my coman. Okay. And I'm just going to lightly fry them. Okay, so I'm going to lightly brush some oil on top of the sope. Okay, so after a couple minutes, they're ready. So we're going to remove them from the oil. Okay, so once we have our sope ready, now we can top them. Alright guys, and now for the fun part, topping our sope. So we're going to grab our meat. And you add as much as you want. Just make sure that it's spread. I'm going to top it with some lettuce, some tomatoes, avocado, our sour cream, and of course our queso fresco. And just like that, now we are ready to enjoy our delicious sope de tinga. Alrighty guys, and now for the best part, the taste test. Now let me tell you guys that we love tinga, we love sopes, so I hope you give this recipe a try and enjoy it just as much. Cheers and enjoy. Seriously, the best. It's so flavorful. Everything is just perfect. Super delicious. Alrighty guys, and there you have it on how to make some delicious sopes de tinga. I hope you guys had enjoyed watching this video, and if you did, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. Share with your friends and family, and if you work with this recipe, please don't forget to tag me in any of my social medias. And if you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button so you guys can be part of our family. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye.